which means that I value honesty. If I truly value honesty, then what am I going to do? I'm going to act in an honest way. I'm going to say honest things. If I don't value honesty, then what am I going to say and do? Whatever's convenient for me. I don't have to act honestly. I can be dishonest because I don't value it. Right? And here's the problem. A lot of times, friends, people are teaching at this level, and what happens? Do this, do that. Well, yeah, they might go out there and do that a couple times because you told them to, but what happened? They didn't build the foundation, right? They just told them what to do, and they didn't know why they were doing it. If we don't teach people why they should act the way they should act, it's never going to really take root, is it? Right? So I would suggest that as teachers, we must be teaching at this level. I want to teach people how to think biblically. I want to teach them to see the world as God sees it. And that's how He describes it in His Word, right? So if I teach people how to think rightly about God, well, what's going to happen? If they think rightly about God, then God is going to work the right values into their life. They're going to think the same things that God thinks important. They're going to think those things are important, right? And then once they have the same values as God, then what are they going to do? Yeah. They're going to do the things that God wants them to do. They're going to say the things God wants them to say. They're going to have the attitude that God wants them to have. Why? Because this right here. Does that make sense? That's so important. And I'll admit this to you guys. Back when I first started teaching, fresh out of college, 22 years old, I go into a classroom with 7th through 12th graders, and I spend all this time telling them, kids, don't do this, don't do that. I'm telling them all these things about what they should and should not do. I actually taught an ethics course, right? Ethics, about moral behavior, right? And I spent so much time trying to convince them of the right things, not to smoke, not to drink, all these other things I was trying to tell them not to do. And guess where it got me? It didn't do much. Occasionally, some of them would do the right thing because maybe they got convicted or maybe they just listened to me a time or two. But do you think there was any real life change? No. I didn't see it. I blew it because I was so focused on trying to change the behavior, and I didn't realize that, wait a minute, that's not where I need to be teaching. I need to teach these young people how to think rightly about God. Right? And as they align their thinking with the Scriptures, then God is going to align their actions with their thinking. Because that's always the case, right? I only do the things that align with the way I think. I only do the things that align with the way I think. So as a teacher, to be truly effective, again, I want to teach them how to think, not what to do. Amen. Do you guys feel me on what I'm saying there? Man, I learned that lesson the hard way, and that's the truth right there. It was not a pretty lesson. Okay, in some ways I feel like, wow, I let these kids down, and you know what? God is going to be the judge of that. I learned a valuable lesson, and I hate that I had to learn it that way, but thankfully I hope I did, and so that's the key there. And again, we don't have time to get into this because of the lateness of the evening, but if you ever get a chance to read the Sermon on the Mount, wow, what a great example of Jesus teaching people not just how to act, but how to think. He goes through about, don't just commit it. You've heard it said, don't commit adultery. Well, I tell you, don't even think about a woman to lust after her, right? And he goes through all these things. Yeah, the law says don't commit murder, but I tell you, don't even hate your brother. Don't even have the wrong attitude toward your brother. Jesus is going through and he's saying, yeah, the law is talking about your behavior, but I want you to go deeper than that. I want you to think the right way about me. I want you to think the right way about the Scriptures. Then you'll do the right thing. It's awesome. That's what that whole Sermon on the Mount, you see it over and over again in every subject that Jesus brings up. He's taking them back to the heart issue, right? The heart motivation, not just the behavior. Okay? Lastly, one more thing we want to talk about to close out the night. We know that the purpose is to cause learning toward life change. We just talked about what life change looks like, right? I want their thinking to change, not just their behavior, right? Well, what happens then? If there is life change, if that's occurring in the people that are learning, what's going to happen? We're coming full circle here. What do we talk about up here? Okay. Yeah. Disciple making. Turn to 2 Timothy 2:2. We're going to... You might already be in 2 Timothy because we were just close there. 2 Timothy 2:2. I just want to close by looking at the big picture here. We've talked about purpose for a long time here. Let's just look at the very big picture and how this could look if we're effectively teaching the way God has envisioned us to do it.